Hello, everybody. I am so excited for this interview with the one and only Penelope Jane Smith. We're going to be talking about how to get started with investing. Making money and growing money are two very different skill sets, which is what Penelope and I were just talking about. Penelope, I'm so excited you're here.
Yay, me too. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing.
Oh my gosh, you guys are going to discover how to get your money to work hard for you and grow so you can also build your entrepreneurial queendom and wealth with more ease and peace around finances, especially. Penelope is going to be talking about the best investment strategies when you're starting out, how to leverage the number one driver of retirement success. I'm excited to learn this. Why it's important to understand the difference between vitality and risk, the 80-20 rule of investing, how to filter out the noise and focus on what actually gets results, and how to double or triple the return on investment of the average investor without taking time away from your business and your life. Penelope is the premier financial freedom coach for women entrepreneurs. She's a go-to expert in the industry and has worked with some of the biggest names in the coaching world. She's an acclaimed international speaker. She's a certified trainer with over 20 years of teaching experience. She's the author of The Little Book of Prosperity. Her unique magic is supporting women entrepreneurs become financially free in 5 years or less with $10,000 per month coming in passive income. She's an awesome mom. She's got an incredible signature program like Financial Freedom 101, which you'll be hearing more about today. She's helped thousands of entrepreneurs from all over the world create more peace and ease and freedom, which is what we all want more of. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Sage. This is one of my favorite things, geeking out about money. Let's dive in. Let's do it. I'm pumped.
Penelope, I remember speaking at one of your first prosperity summits and hearing your story about money, which is pretty dramatic. Would you be willing to share?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Other people can learn from my mistakes. So I am totally willing to share. And by the way, if you're listening to this training, I really want to acknowledge you for being here. I know you're super busy. It's so easy to get caught up in the day to day and put off things that might not seem urgent in the moment, but are super, super important, like saving and investing for the future. So many people keep kicking that can down the road until suddenly they look up and they're 70 years old and they don't have enough money for retirement, or they just fork everything over to a financial advisor and hope it all works out because they don't have time to understand investing. And that can leave them with huge money leaks in their portfolios that cost them hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars over time. But you're here in this training, investing in yourself and your financial future. And that is inspiring. So I encourage you to give yourself a big hug and say congratulations for being here. And as far as my story, in my mid 20s, I took $10,000 of my own money. Over the next 4 years, I turned that into over $6 million in real estate. I was on track to be able to retire, to be financially free by the time I was 31. And then the real estate market crashed and everything changed. My credit was ruined. I lost my beautiful home to foreclosure. I struggled and struggled and struggled. And eventually I was forced to declare bankruptcy. So I felt like a total failure. And then right around that time, and Sage, you actually knew me then, I was invited to participate in a high-level mastermind group on Richard Branson's private island in the Caribbean. It was a $50,000 investment for the 6-day mastermind, no refunds, no payment plans. And even though I had less than $1,000 to my name at that point and no credit, since my credit was trashed, I had this strong intuitive hit that I was supposed to be there. And amazingly, I did it. I'm happy to share how later if you're curious and we have time. But that was the beginning of turning everything around because the facilitator of that group announced publicly that he wanted to win a Nobel Prize for single-handedly turning the economy around. And I was like, what? Like, that really inspired me. So I started asking myself, what could I do to turn the economy around? So I'm sitting with this question on a billionaire's private island, and I got the download. I got the answer. Can I share what I came up with?
Oh my gosh, please.
All right. So what I noticed is that each person has their own personal economy that may or may not have anything to do with the economy at large. I was in the middle of losing everything while other people on the island were having their best year in business ever. So I figured if I could support enough individual entrepreneurs in creating their own economy of abundance, eventually we would hit a tipping point and the economy at large would shift. So I started focusing my energy on supporting other entrepreneurs to make more money because that's something I'm really great at. And now my business is pretty awesome. I'm able to make a healthy 6, close to 7 figures doing what I love while only working about 20 hours a week. So I have plenty of time to be with my little ones, Gabriel and Michael. I've been able to cash flow my dream wedding, plus awesome vacations all over the world. I have a beautiful car that I own free and clear. I built my retirement accounts back up. I have abundant support in my life. So other people handle all the housework, errands, food prep, as well as take care of my kiddos some of the time. So I can do stuff like be here with you today, right? I have an amazing team in my business, so I can reach more people with my message and not get bogged down in stuff that I'm not great at or just don't love doing. Plus, now I have my new gorgeous dream home with panoramic views of the water. I can't wait to have you over, Sage. It's so cool. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this stuff, because I've lived through some people's worst nightmares financially and live to tell the tale. So I can help you avoid some of the painful mistakes I've made. And if you've faced financial challenges in your own life, help you recover, rebuild, rise like a phoenix from the ashes. Does that sound good?
I love it. I love it. I just want to know more. Congratulations on your turnaround story. I love thinking about you sitting on that island, having just lost everything and just putting yourself back in the flow of abundance, which is what we have to do when life sends us those setbacks. You're so inspiring. And so tell me a little bit more, like when we're just getting started with investing, what are some of the mindset shifts we need to really make that work and be successful?
Mm. The first one is think of yourself as an investor. Like, I think you're familiar with the book Atomic Habits, right?
Totally.
It's a best-selling book by James Clear, in case you're listening and haven't read it. And in it, he says that the key to building lasting habits is to focus on creating a new identity, because your current behaviors are a reflection of your current identity. So I invite you to put your hand on your heart and say, I am an investor, and see how that feels. I am an investor. This reminds me of one of my favorite quotes by Mariah Burton Nelson. She says, think of yourself as an athlete. I guarantee you it'll change the way you stand, the way you walk, the decisions you make about your body. And along those same lines, I encourage you to think of yourself as an investor. It'll change the way you think about and relate to money and the decisions you make about your money to create long-term financial success and freedom. And Robert Kiyosaki, who is the best-selling author of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he recommends thinking like an investor even before you have money to invest. And I agree. Whether you're just getting started or you already have millions and millions of dollars in assets, think of yourself as an investor. Think of yourself as someone who saves and invests money consistently over long periods of time. Decide to be someone who doesn't just work hard for money, but get your money working hard for you. Decide to be someone that earns interest instead of always paying it. Decide to be someone that receives passive income instead of always having to trade time for money. This is huge, right? And when you have real world evidence to support that belief and that identity that you're an investor, it reinforces that belief and identity and makes it even more powerful. So once you invest any amount of money, even if it's just $1, you reinforce that identity. I mean, you invested money. That makes you an investor, right? An investor is someone who invests, and you just did that. And every time you look at your investment account, I encourage you to think or even say out loud, I am an investor. Because anytime you use an I am statement, you're programming yourself subconsciously, right? So it might feel like the identity of an investor doesn't quite fit yet. Like, it still blows my mind to realize I'm a mom, even though I have quite a lot of experience and evidence to support that now. On the other hand, I've been an entrepreneur for decades, so I feel completely aligned with saying I'm an entrepreneur at this point. So give it time. And if you already feel 100% aligned with your identity as an investor, like, yeah, of course I'm an investor. Great. Take this as a reminder to celebrate that you've already embraced that identity, right? Because taking on the identity of an investor is going to serve you well for the rest of your life and help you build wealth and financial freedom. And according to a recent US News and World Report, even though more people have gotten into the stock market in recent years, nearly 50% of people in the United States anyway, still aren't investing in the stock market. And obviously there's other places you can invest too, real estate, gold, silver, whatever. But the stock market is one of those places, and most of it is still controlled by rich white people. Wah, wah. Now, obviously, people who make more money are more likely to own stock, right? But it makes me sad when I hear people say, I'll invest once I have more money. Because the truth is, you'll have more money when you invest. So that's the second mindset shift is I'll have more money when I invest. You want to start now, 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 get that power of compound interest working for you as soon as possible. Put yourself in that prosperity cycle where your money is making more money and you can reinvest that and that makes it even more money. And then you get in this beautiful loop or this beautiful prosperity cycle of the abundance increasing and increasing. And then the third mindset shift I'll mention here is around allowing your money to work hard for you, like we mentioned, instead of you always working so hard for money. And that might sound like, yeah, sure. But think about the conditioning you've received. You might have heard things like work hard, play hard. Hard work never killed anybody. You got to learn the value of hard work. Hard work always pays off. By the way, does hard work always pay off?
No.
Really, right? I saw a quote from Michelle Obama that said, how hard you work matters more than how much you make. And I'm like, what? So that's what's normal. That's what people are used to. That's like the collective conditioning, right? And I'm not saying hard work is bad, right?
Right.
But if your unconscious feeling of security, your identity, maybe even your sense of self-worth and meaning is tied to how hard you work, then what happens when you're financially free and you don't have to work for money anymore? Your subconscious mind that's been programmed to work hard, work hard, work hard can experience that as feeling really threatening and scary. Like, who am I if I'm not working my butt off? What's going to give my life meaning now? I mean, I suppose you could just keep working hard anyway. But if you really want to create financial freedom, it's important to shift your mindset from you always having to work so hard for money to having your money work hard for you. One of my favorite financial freedom declarations that I invite you to adopt is my income increases every day, whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing. My income increases every day, whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing. That's the mindset I encourage you to nurture.
I love this. I love this so much. My income increases every day, whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing, or walking my dog on the beach, or going surfing. I love this. And what I really love about this is the absolute truth that we need to have somewhere in our life where we're watching our prosperity go up. I remember years ago when I was $35,000 in debt on my credit card, I had a mentor tell me, you need one place where your income's going up. Who cares? Like, credit cards are credit cards. Like, you entered into an agreement with a credit card company. They happily loaned you money, and you can still have places in your life where your income is growing. That's just one piece of your financial portfolio. And I remember being like, oh, I'm not defined by my debt. And so what you're speaking to is just so real. I started putting money into an account every month. And at that one account, I didn't take money out. It went up, 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 up. And, got to the point where I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. And, it just changed my life to go from 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 month by month, and watching those numbers go up. And now that's an investment account. And Penelope, you're just speaking some major truth right now. So for every single one of you listening, I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're feeling uplifted. And I hope you're seeing the possibility, the keys to the queendom of freedom. We are vibrational creatures and we will attract what we affirm. And Penelope, you're just so smart about investing. What are the best investment strategies that you recommend when you're starting out?
Well, I would say what you want to do is create a system. Like the habit of managing your money is more important than the amount, especially at first. So there's been studies on like the keys to retirement success. Like, what makes the biggest difference? Is it the asset class, the portfolio mix, the strategy? Like, what is it? 78% of someone's ability to retire is just putting money in the thing. Just putting money in the thing. So the number one driver of retirement success is set up a system to consistently put money into the grow money world. So the make money world is where we're all, working for money. And then you want to transfer some of that money into the grow money world, which is what you were talking about, having a separate account with a specific purpose that's just for growing. And it can even be just a savings account at first. Like, if you're like, what are the IRAs and 401ks, or if you're in Canada, TFSAs and RSPs, like, what is all this stuff? Like, that's great. But like, you could start off with just a savings account that you call your investment account, right? And start putting money in there. The other thing is, studies have shown that you increase your savings rate by 81% when you set up an automatic transfer. So set up a separate savings account that's just for investing. And then ultimately, you want to look into these brokerage accounts and IRAs and things like that. But even just a savings account is a great place to start, and set up an auto transfer, even if it's small at first, to just go in there every month. And I still like having a savings account like that, because like I have a note on my phone to transfer money whenever I unexpectedly save money or get money. Like, I might think I'm gonna have to pay for parking and they decide not to charge that day. And I'm like, oh, $20 that I can put into my investment account, for example. So I make a little note, transfer it to that savings account because it's really easy. And then every now and then I'll transfer a chunk from that savings account into my IRA or into my brokerage account. And we don't really have time to get into all those different accounts right now, but just starting with a savings account is great. So the big thing, we're talking about the 80-20 rule of investing. What are the big things that's going to get you the best results? Number one, put money in there. Put money in there. Number two, automate your smart financial decisions by setting up an auto transfer. And then number three, invest according to a strategy. So the key to investing with confidence and having your money grow over time is to invest in a strategy. And when I talk to a lot of people about this, they say, oh, well, I went and I told my financial advisor that I want something medium risk, or I want something green and socially responsible. And I'm like, okay, that's not a strategy. That's just some criteria. So what a strategy is it's a plan based on real data for protecting and growing your money. A plan based on real data for protecting and growing your money. And when you invest in a strategy first and then specific, investments or ticker symbols, then it makes sense. Like some people will say, oh, Penelope, is gold a good investment? Or is cryptocurrency a good investment? Or, is the stock market dead? Like none of those things matter until you know what your strategy is, right? Because someone might say, oh, gold is a terrible investment. Well, for their strategy, yeah. So no wonder they're saying that, right? But for a different strategy, it might be great, right? So you start by investing in a strategy and then you can go from there. So let's talk about an easy strategy to start off with right now. And disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't give financial advice. So I'm not going to like tell you what to buy. Okay. This is for educational purposes only, but I can share an easy strategy with you. If you want to keep things super simple, one strategy is to just invest in what's called an index fund that tracks a chunk of the market, like the S&P 500 index or the NASDAQ. So a stock market index, it's like a measurement or a section of the market, like a basket of a bunch of stocks. So imagine that you have a big basket full of Easter eggs, and each Easter egg is a different stock, like Tesla, Google, Amazon, Starbucks. They're all together in this big basket, right? When you invest in a fund that tracks that whole index or basket, you own a little piece of that whole basket. So you own a little bit of everything in there. If you're not familiar with index funds, here's how they work. You can't invest in an index itself, like the S&P 500, which is basically just a list of stocks, right? But there are funds that pool investors' money together, and they do their best to then mirror or match or mimic that index, like the S&P 500 is a really good benchmark to use. They buy the stocks that are listed on that S&P 500. So the fund is going to do pretty much what the S&P 500 does, right? So when somebody says, I want something medium risk or low risk or high risk, what they're talking about is they don't want to see the price going up and down a lot. They don't want to see a lot of what's called price volatility. That means the price going up and down a lot. So I want you to understand that there's a difference between volatility and risk. And this is really important. Think about a roller coaster. My husband and I like to go on roller coasters, right? And roller coasters go up and down, right? That's the volatility part. They're always going up and down. The markets are always going up and down. Even if you have all your money in cash in the mattress, the value of the dollar is still going up and down based on the value of other currencies, based on what you can buy with that dollar. So you're always invested and it's always going up and down, in case you didn't know. So that's the volatility part. The risk part is, as long as you stay on the roller coaster until the end, the risk of getting hurt is minimal, or the risk of losing money is minimal. So with the roller coaster, it's not like the risk is non-existent, right? Like people do occasionally get hurt on roller coasters, but it's very, very rare. So you want to stay on till the end of the ride, you're probably going to be okay. And the same is true with investing. So for you to actually like lose money in something like the S&P 500, we would basically, for you to lose all your money, we would have to have like a complete collapse of the financial system. So I'm going to show a slide here. If you're listening to this and you can't see the slide I'm showing, this shows you a graph of the percentage of rolling periods with positive returns of the S&P 500 over, through 2020. But even now, the numbers remain consistent. And so what this is showing you is that in any single year of the S&P 500 back since, 1926, when they started tracking these things, 75.4% of the time, the stock market was up. That means that most of the time, the market's in a stable uptrend. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. If you leave your money in for any 5-year period, it was up 87.9% of the time. If you left it in for 10 years, it was up 98.4% of the time. And you left it in for 20 years, it was up 100% of the time. So what this means is the longer you stay on the ride, the longer you have your money in the market, the less risk there is that you're actually going to lose money. So even though it's volatile, it's going up and down all the time, the risk of losing money goes down the longer you leave it in. Does that make sense?
100%. And I guess I'm just curious too, like what percentage could we anticipate our money might go up if we stay in 10 or 20 years?
Well, you can look at like the average returns too, right? So there's, okay, I don't want to get too complicated here. So the average, I'll just give you the average returns. The average returns are around 11%.
Mhm.
If you look at the history of the stock market, like, will it be 11% over the next 20 years? Obviously we don't know, but like the data we have, again, we're creating a plan
Yeah.
based on real data that we have.
Yeah.
And the average has been around between 11 and 12%. So let's say 11% to
Yeah.
be on the safe side,
Yeah.
right? So if you just wanted to invest in the overall US stock market, one way to do that would be to call up wherever you have your investment account, whether that's, TD Ameritrade or E-Trade or Charles Schwab, or if you're outside the US, maybe Interactive Brokers, and say, what S&P 500 index tracking funds do you have available? Pretty much any investment account is going to have some kind of fund like this, even if you don't live in the United States. And they'll give you some combination of letters. These are called ticker symbols. Ticker symbols. It's like a stock or fund's nickname. Like, how airports have those 3-letter nicknames, like San Francisco is SFO, Los Angeles is LAX. Well, stocks and funds have nicknames like that. So for example, if you have an account with Vanguard and you're like, hey, what S&P 500 index tracking funds do you have? They'll probably tell you to check out VOO or VFINX. Those are nicknames of funds that they have that track the S&P 500. And when you do that, statistically, like if all you did was just buy one of those funds and leave it there, you can automate it, set it and forget it. And statistically, you're going to have triple the return of the average investor. So I'm going to show you one more chart. If you're listening to this and can't see the chart, what this is showing you is the difference between people who are actively trading stocks and people who just buy and hold the S&P 500. And Dalbar Research is a company that's been around for decades, and they're always checking different rolling periods. So in this particular slide that I'm showing, people that just put their money in the S&P 500 did 2.8 times better than people who are actively trading. So basically triple the return of the average investor. The numbers from Dalbar are between 2.5 and 3.5%, depending on which rolling period you're looking at. But what that says is statistically, just buying and holding the market, you're going to earn triple the returns of the average investor.
This is so good to hear right now, because I know a lot of us probably just lost at least some money in the stock market. I know I did. And it definitely, it was interesting because I put a bunch of money in there like right before the crash. And I was just like, not thinking about it. I was just like, I just need to get some money in there. It had been sitting in a savings account. And of course it was like, oh my God, I should have waited another year. But on the other hand, if you never get in, like you never get in, like you gotta you got to play to win. And so I just think that this is good for us to hear right now. And, it's not like this is the worst financial uncertainty that the planet has ever been in. Like we're riding the roller coaster of the economy. And so can you say a little bit more about that in terms of like, I know a lot of people are feeling like we're in a very uncertain economy right now. So
what are we not?
Right? Like what advice? And I can also like taking you, and I can also really see the reason why people flip houses and get into real estate and get into investing in businesses and things like that, right? Because you can get a hell of a lot more than 11%, right? When you play your cards right. And I know that's been a big part of your game, and it's been a little bit of a part of my game. I mean, for every single one of you listening, the bottom line is you got to start putting money away. Like, you got to start saving, because imagine if ever since you started working, you had been putting, 5% or 10% of the money that you made in a separate account. Imagine how much money would be in that account right now. Like, you'd be walking through the world as like a different woman. And so I just am so glad that you're here, Penelope, like filling us full of all of these reasons to just start putting money away, and also start making a plan with someone that we trust, like you. And I know that's what you're going to talk about with Financial 101, but can you say a little bit more about how do we ride this roller coaster, especially with some financial uncertainty going on right now, the tech market changing with AI and all the things?
Well, this is again why we start with strategy, right? Like, it's so important to follow a strategy, and there's pros and cons to every strategy. So this training is all about how to get started investing. I want to make this as simple and easy and doable for you as possible. So the 80-20 rule here: put money in, automate your smart decisions, and do auto transfer and auto investing. And then I'm giving you a really simple strategy that you can set and forget. You can do auto investing. Is it my favorite strategy? No. But is it easy? Yes. So the pros to this buy and hold the market strategy is you can set it and forget it. It's really easy to understand. You're going to statistically outperform the average investor by 3x, right? The downside is you have to stay on the roller coaster, right? So there's going to be times where, you hit a dip. Like, imagine you're taking a road trip across the country. Like, doing the buy and hold strategy is like saying, I'm just going to drive the speed limit the whole way, not realizing that there's some places where you could totally safely go faster. And when I come to a turn in the road, I'm not going to hit the brake. I'm just going to keep going the speed limit. So I'm going to total my car every now and then, and it's going to take me a little while to recover, but I'm still going to get there. And it's true. So like, you can get there with this strategy, and it's easy. And that's why I'm sharing it with you. But the downside is you do have that market crash exposure where, you might take a 50%, 60% hit. You might have that roller coaster go down and you're like, yeah, this is scary. I mean, I scream when I go down roller coasters. It's scary, right? But you as long as you stay on the ride and you're like, hang on, this is my strategy. And I'm looking at the data, and the data says the longer I stay on this ride, there's less risk that I'm actually going to lose any money. So like, if you're on the ride and you're on the dip right now and you're seeing your account go down, you're like, okay, I'm in a dip. It's not like you haven't actually lost the money unless you sell, which you're not doing right now,
Exactly.
right?
That's key. You have not lost the money unless you sell. And this is an investment. You didn't get in there just to pull it back out however many
Right.
years later, right?
And
Yeah,
yeah, the other thing is, let's say you did have to pull out some money now because you are at retirement age and you saw it's not like you're going to pull it all out right now,
right.
right? So
Right.
if you don't like the idea of pulling money out when the market's down, you might keep a longer cash cushion. For most people, I would recommend like 3 to 6 months living expenses. Once you actually are done with the earnings runway and you're living off your investments, maybe you want a 12 to 18-month cash cushion so that if the market is down, you're like, you know what, let me just leave it in a little longer. The average recession is 18 months, right? So if you have an 18-month cash cushion, you don't even need to touch your investments during that entire time if you don't want. So there's ways to hedge against this.
Or get a few clients that'll last you
Obviously,
18 months.
there's always that.
Okay. So I also want to hear, like, do you recommend working with a financial advisor? And if so, how do we find a great one?
So with financial advisors, again, there's pros and cons to that. I think that it really has to do with your level of confidence in yourself and your strategy. Most financial advisors are either going to have you in some kind of buy and hold strategy, like we just talked about, or they're going to have you do that with a mix between stocks and bonds. And you can just do that on your own, and save yourself the fees. I don't mind the fees as long as they're earning them, right? And you can find financial advisors who will help you outperform the market net of fees. The challenge is that most of them don't. So 98% of financial advisors and funds don't beat the market, don't beat the strategy I just shared with you. 98%. Now that 2% do, right? But they don't outperform net of fees. So it's hard It's hard to find one that's worth it. That's the problem. And also financial advisor doesn't mean anything. So there's a lot of people who are selling insurance that call themselves financial advisors, but they're selling you things that maybe aren't the best fit really because that's all they're licensed to sell, which is really, really discouraging. So and there's other things financial advisors can help you with too, like, the overall planning and stuff. But even if you have a legit certified financial advisor that's trustworthy and excellent and amazing, when clients come to me from the big box financial advisor world, I can typically spot 2 to 5% in money leaks in their portfolio immediately that are stealing from their financial future without them even realizing it. And 2 to 5% might not sound like a lot, but if you look at how money compounds over time, it's a lot.
Right? Oh my God, it's
A
so
lot,
true. It's so
right?
true.
Yeah.
And
So if you want a financial advisor, I would say you still want to you still need to be the steward of your money.
I agree.
And when you understand your investment strategy and when you have a little bit of financial education, you have the tools to evaluate whether they're doing a good job. So I
Yeah.
would recommend, like, even now that you have this strategy, you can go on Yahoo Finance for free, put in one of those funds I shared with you, like VOO, and you can compare how that's doing to what the financial advisor is suggesting for you. And if they can't even beat the market, like, why? Why?
Why would you pay them?
Why? You know?
And that's what I love about what you're saying. The same thing applied to my business and my marketing department. So many people just want to hire out a marketing director and just,
Yeah.
just get it off your plate. But if I didn't know what I know about marketing, we wouldn't have grown 20 to 40% every single year since I started, and I wouldn't be running a multi-million-dollar company. And so I just want to really underline what Penelope's saying is like get yourself educated, get yourself informed. And that's why I think having an actual strategy based on your level of how assertive you want to be is like so key. It's so critical. And I would so much rather learn from Penelope about what to do, and actually be thinking about meeting my goals rather than just plug into some financial advisor's plan for me, which may or may not actually be the best thing for my world. And that's why I
And
get so excited about how you're empowering your students.
And it's huge, Sage, because 86% of financial advisors are men.
Oh,
Most
wow.
most of them are over 50. And
Right.
there's an inherent gender bias in that whole financial planning industry, like in a
Right.
lot of industries. Like,
Right.
did you know that seatbelt safety testing based on the average person is actually based on the average man? So more women actually get injured and die from seatbelts than men do. I was like,
It's
what?
so jaded, right?
It's
It's like
messed up.
the
And
patriarchy
yeah,
continues. And,
it's like
here we
it's
are
hidden everywhere.
as
Oh,
two powerful women, right? Talking about helping you all get financial free, right? Whether you start with a simple plan, whether you start with a basic education, whether you want to be a little bit more assertive and start really learning some of Penelope's strategies, which she's been hinting at, which are way better than just throw your money in the S&P. I know that you have an upcoming 3-day training, and I know that you're actually offering that like totally for free for our audience, which is blowing me away. I'm so excited. Can you talk a little bit about Financial Freedom 101?
yeah, absolutely. So, the way, if you just go the traditional route to a financial advisor right now, those models don't acknowledge women's differences in lifespans, career paths, and goals. And what ends up happening is that statistically, women end up with less money at retirement, but it has to last us longer, which is infuriating. So most of us did not get a financial education growing up, learning how to make, save, manage, invest, and protect your money, right? But it's all learnable. It's all learnable. So we didn't learn this at home or in school. Time to learn it now. And that's what Financial Freedom 101 is. It's a 3-day immersion. If you think about like all the time you spent on your formal education, years and years and years, your professional education, give me 3 days, just 3 days. And I will give you the financial education that you never got at home or in school growing up. And you will leave with all your money systems together. You'll leave with the tools to become financially free forever. So we'll put together your entire entrepreneurial wealth blueprint, where you can take all the wonderful goodness you're learning from Sage, plug it into how to manage cash flow, how to manage money, how to build time in your schedule for that, how to get your money working for you without taking any time away from your business. And we'll go a lot deeper into investment strategy than we had time to today. So at the end of 3 days, you'll leave with a map of all your money systems and how they work all together to help you become financially free. It's thebomb.com. Now that is going for $4.97 on my website. So when people see me, on YouTube or documentaries or whatever, people are just coming and buying tickets, and that's really cool. But Sage and I have known each other for a long time. We're super passionate about getting her community this knowledge around growing money, in addition to everything she's sharing with you around how to make money. So we've created a special bonus ticket where as a bonus for being in Sage's programs and community, you can actually come for free, which means you don't need the $4.97. You don't even need to do the seat deposit that we typically require. You could just go. The only thing you need to do is use this magic link. Okay, so the magic link is realprosperityinc.com/women-rocking-business. Okay, that is the magic link that's going to get you in. realprosperityinc.com/women-rocking-business. And hopefully we can post the link somewhere around.
We for sure will. I'll pop it in here with a video. We'll pop it in the show notes. I'm so excited for every single one of you to take up Penelope on this beyond generous offer to attend a 3-day training completely for free. And I don't know about y'all, but I would so much rather go and immerse myself in this stuff and step away from whatever else is going on in my life and really get it and get the downloads and not try to peter away with it and just get it handled. And that's what Penelope is going to help you do in just 3 days, immersive experiential education around a bunch of other conscious leaders who are also investing alongside you, which is the most fun way. And Penelope makes it a ton of fun. She makes money so much fun. I'm so proud to know you. I'm so honored to be sitting here next to you in your glowing purple, regal energy. And just thank you for being such an abundant mom, such a powerful woman leader, and such a stand for women creating financial freedom. We need more women having this conversation. Pop some love underneath this video and in the show notes, and pop some love. Give us some likes here, because Penelope, just thank you so much for being on the path of true havingness as such a powerful woman.
Thank you so much. This is great. I will say we've put the event online so you can attend from anywhere in the world, where you used to have to fly to California to do it. So I would definitely take us up on that. And whether you choose to attend Financial Freedom or not, my hope, my intention is that from listening to this training today, that you do something today that your future self will thank you for.
Amen. A woman. realprosperityinc.com/women-rocking-business. We'll put the link below, and your financial future depends on you making these choices right here and now, and you deserve abundance. So go grab that ticket, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Don't forget to hit subscribe so I can keep getting you weekly content to grow your business that is relevant, authentic, and effective, so you can get out there and shine your light and be the messenger that you're here to be, because your clients are waiting for you.